welcome to Talking Kid vs. Cat Episode 8. I'm your host, Mr. Demon Cat, and this is a podcast about all things Kid vs. Cat animated series related. I've also not yet mentioned Henry from Kid vs. Cat in a while, since April, May, June, or July of 2025. But I also have a list of possibilities that Henry also did, in which I will talk about later in this episode. Today's episode will be about Henry from Kid vs. Cat. Fasten your seatbelts, Kid vs. Cat fans, because we're going to break it down in today's episode. Now let's begin! For those who do not know who Henry from Kid vs. Cat is, Henry Chan is Dennis Chan's father. Henry also has an Asian accent, and the initials on his suit imply his middle or last name to begin with the letter L. Likely Henry Liu based on scripts. But others think his full name is Henry Chan, or should I call him Henry Liu Chan? His ninja suit says HL. His middle name might be Lawrence, and his full name could also be Henry Lawrence Chan. The use of a ninja suit suggests a Japanese aspect to his ancestry. Henry is voiced by Vincent Tong, a Canadian actor and voice actor who also voiced other anime and animated characters. Henry Chan is very tech savvy, and in almost every Kid vs. Cat episode, he is seen with a new piece of technology. Henry loves computers and gaming PCs so much that he also owns a computer cafe. He uses electronics all the time and often has modern technology to show it off. You know, not all Kid vs. Cat episodes featured Henry, also known as Dennis's father. I even have a list of appearances that Henry made, in which I will also talk about later in a little bit. Henry also began adopting his son Dennis. However, according to Ralph Padilla, that might not be true. Henry and Dennis probably have the same head shape and skin tone, but Henry is also bald. Henry also has his black hair behind the top of his head, his red short sleeves, his light red t-shirt, and also his gray pants and black shoes on. I could clearly see them using my glasses. Henry might also be Asian Canadian, and his son Dennis also mentioned a relative in Hong Kong or mainland China, but it's not really clear which side the family he was on. Henry first appeared in the Kid vs. Cat episode Happy Campers. His son Dennis first appeared in the Night the Zombie Cat episode. Coop's father Bert began competing with Henry in the Happy Campers episode. Coop's father also began meeting Henry in person before going camping with each other. They both showed up in person with fancy technology they also brought, including a fish locating device and a massive tent with a basketball court that I also saw. Coop and Dennis also began meeting Bert and Henry, their fathers, in the Happy Campers episode. I also mentioned Bert and Henry in episode 2 of my Talking Kid vs. Cat podcast about me ranking Kid vs. Cat ships on TierMaker at TierMaker.com. Nellie and Cat also began meeting Henry in person too, with Dennis bringing the basketball to the cap. Bert and Henry also began being angry at each other while camping with their sons. Oh my gosh! I gotta hear what Henry's voice sounds like first.
Make up your mind, Bert! Are you teaching Coop golf or modern dance?
Henry also began seeing a house that was partially hidden, then later sat down in a chair to resume talking to Bert. If you think of Bert and Henry from Kid vs. Cat going to a camping house, like a vacation property rentals company Airbnb, and their host making Bert and Henry renting out a house by using their credit cards, they might also think that a camping house is boring and a waste of money. Bert and Henry have also not yet rented an Airbnb house yet, but here's what they also did in the Happy Campers episode. Henry lets their kids, Coop and Dennis, explore more camping adventures in a very rural area where cell phone and TV transmitters are blocked by the trees, by having them take notes and figure out a way to get out of trouble. Henry also partially abandoned Dennis Chan in the trees. Well, he went back to seeing what Dennis did. Coop and Dennis resumed seeing Bert and Henry play against each other, but here's what else Henry did to Bert. Henry also began being in the water with Coop's father, then used his sticks to try and touch the water or catch fish. Henry also began being with Dennis and Millie in the evening while camping. I think I also saw him trying to make chocolate s'mores on a campfire. Henry also began going to sleep in his pajamas in the nighttime. This is also my first time seeing Henry in his pajamas. Henry went back to sleep in his pajamas in the night, and the Kid vs. Cat episode Happy Campers ended. Here comes Henry's second appearance in Kid vs. Cat. This time he is also here in the Teen Elf episode. Bert and Henry began encouraging themselves to revive a neighborhood tradition, the Round the Block Golf Challenge. The episode begins with Henry meeting Bert at Coop's house. He resumed teasing him and pranking him before being with Coop and Dennis. Henry also attempts to help Dennis practice shooting golf balls using the golf club, but he never listens. Teen Elf is the second Kid vs. Cat episode featuring Henry Chan. It's the second time I also saw Bert and Henry being upset. But what else did Henry hear inside the house next to Coop, Dennis, and Bert? I think I also saw them attempt to get out of the house, or maybe practice playing golf inside the house. That Kid vs. Cat episode teed off reminds me of Adam Sandler from Happy Gilmore. Henry and the kids have also gone outside again in the teed off episode, finding Coop's father in the trees in the forest. They also saw Cat attempt to get the treasure out of the grass. Henry accused Coop and Dennis of cheating in golf, but I do not understand what they did. And now they let their kids stay away from Henry because they did not want to hear what they said. Henry also frequently argues with Bert because they also have many things as competition. They even let the kids win the golf championship title, where Oldie Munson's house is in Bootsville, and then make a mess on the floor, destroying Oldie Munson's other things that were also outside. The golf ball automatically breaks into pieces after seeing Henry's son, Dennis, win with Coop. Bert and Henry also resumed their fight with each other outside, and used the shovels to get the dirt into their faces. Wow! Look how much dirt is outside! The Teen Elf episode has ended. Going back to the Kid vs. Cat episode guide, I found yet another episode featuring Henry Chen, or Henry Liu. The Something Fishy in Owl Lake episode begins with Henry meeting Bert yet again, and my third time seeing him in Kid vs. Cat, wearing their fishing gear to be prepared. Henry also began wearing his hat, in which I also saw him talking to Bert in the car. After greeting each other in person again, Henry began setting up fishing gear with Coop's dad, to be ready to go hunting and fishing. Henry met Oldie Munson in person again in the Something Fishy in Owl Lake episode. They even have their fishing rods ready too, along with an empty bag to catch some fish. Henry and Bert, looking to compete with other people in the fishing competition, have also started going on the boat in the water. Dennis Chan also began fishing with Henry in the boat too. Their fishing rods they have used have gone out of control, as Cat turns things around in the bottom of the water, where the octopus, seashells, and other things are also in the bottom of the water too. Dennis and Henry also saw Cat get out of the water, not knowing when a naked cat would come to Coop and Millie. Dennis and Henry did a good try of winning the fishing competition at the end of the Something Fishy in Owl Lake episode. They even saw a dummy or a decoy being with other kids in person boating too. The Something Fishy in Owl Lake episode ended. In the fourth Kid vs. Cat episode I also watched, Storm Drained, Henry also went to Coop's baseball game in person, and also saw Coop wear mostly blue clothes. Henry also cheered for Coop and Dennis playing baseball as young rookies, but also saw Coop allow other opponents to score 5 or more runs. About 2 hours later, Henry also saw the same kids cutting an opponent's lead to 3 or less, and also working on making a comeback in baseball history. 15 minutes later, Henry Liu Chan got out of Coop's baseball game after seeing Coop complete the comeback to walk it off. In the fifth Kid vs. Cat episode featuring Henry I also watched, Dire Education. Henry began meeting other kids at school, and he also met Bert in person too. He even took Dennis Chan to school too. About a few minutes later, Henry began being with Dennis in class. Henry started making fun of Coop in Miss Brannigan's class, not knowing what Coop did. Henry also started being on his phone, in which the kids are not allowed to be using in class. He even begins listening to what the kids say in class too. Henry also saw Bert stand up on the kid's desk, and also got upset at him again. After class, Henry also went to PE class with other people, looking to play dodgeball against other people. Henry also watched the kids play dodgeball even more, with Lone and Wanda also against them. He also resumed being upset at other people in PE class too. At lunchtime, Henry also watched the kids start the fight, by throwing food at other people. He even met Mr. Grover in science class too, looking to make the trick in that class. There's potential here if Henry gets out of school to avoid getting himself in trouble, or maybe stop doing anything bad in class. The school day ended at 2 p.m., and Henry Chan went back home with Dennis Chan in the afternoon, at the end of the Dire Education episode. In the 6th Kid vs. Cat episode featuring Henry, titled Buzz Off, Henry was in his different uniform that he's wearing, partially covering his face to try and kill the flies outside using the bug zapper. Things did not go well for Henry. He also saw Woody Muncie get angry again. 13 minutes later, this happened. Henry got the bee's honey on most of his face while also screaming outside. Why is he shouting? You'd be shouting too if you knew how the bees got close to people. Henry got all of the honey off his face 2 minutes later by using the water in his hands to get them off. He got back to work with Bert and Dennis, looking to add more honey to the big pan. Little did they know, they also saw Coop stop Cat and the flies outside. The Kid vs. Cat episode Buzz Off ends. I don't know if Buzz Off is Henry's final appearance in Kid vs. Cat Season 1, but let me know what other appearances Henry made in Season 1 of Kid vs. Cat. I'm going to count the amount of appearances Henry made in Kid vs. Cat Season 1. Henry appeared in Season 1 of Kid vs. Cat 6 times so far as of today. Okay, moving on to Kid vs. Cat Season 2. Henry's first appearance in Kid vs. Cat Season 2 at the moment is Reap It and Weep. The Reap It and Weep episode begins with Coop skateboarding. About an hour later, Henry pranked Bert again in the beginning of this episode I'm watching. Henry also caught Coop and his father outside. This time he also saw them plant a big pumpkin in a mini garden on the floor next to the grass. The two machines that have some analytics and also have red lasers built in might have detected the big pumpkin on the floor. Henry, who also saw the same people looking at the pumpkin, made Bert get upset at him again. He even saw Coop's father take a picture or screenshot of the pumpkin using the most expensive camera that has lights built in. A minute later, Henry also looked at Coop and his dad trying to put the flower next to the pumpkin, and he partially scared Bert again in this episode. What the? An hour later, Henry went back to being at home with his mother after seeing what Coop and his father did outside. In the Weep It and Weep episode, I also did not see Henry again for the rest of it, not even at the end of this episode. I think I also saw Henry catching Millie collecting all the green, orange, and red leaves that were on the floor next to the trees outside in the Nuff said episode, along with him going down the treasure hunts below the road's crossing as he starts digging using the shovels to try and find some hidden items there. In yet another Kid vs. Cat Season 2 episode featuring Henry, titled The Three Aarghs, the episode begins with Coop, Dennis, and Bert attempting to recycle items they do not need. Dennis and Henry took the kitchen oven to the recycle bin, which is probably not going to fit in the recycle bin. Henry also saw someone take the kitchen oven back inside the house. He also saw Coop and his dad get mad at him again too. He even saw the power-saving energy being set up on top of the other house, but it is not known how long the power-saving energy will last. Henry also saw Coop's dad get on top of the house too, which is not very safe for him to do without a ladder. Henry also went back to being with Dennis, and he also resumed making fun of Bert too. There's also a wheelbarrow that Henry used earlier to take some dirt out of the grass after putting him there. Even more homely things that Henry also saw earlier in the Three Aarghs episode too. I could barely see Bert and Henry in the background on my screen too. Henry left Coop and Dennis partially being abandoned again. So right as I finished watching what Coop and Dennis did to those electricity and energy, plus them ruining Cat's TV transmitter that was outside. Oh my gosh, I cannot stop watching what Henry did in Kid vs. Cat. I could barely see Mr. Cat getting mad at the TV switching to the analog static loop, plus Cat breaking the TV screen. Henry being with Coop's father also saw the spinning circle loop. It became a disaster, and then nearly got close to Bert and Henry. Henry also saw invisible things destroy some electricity and also kill energy-saving technology. And then, the damage has been done. Bert and Henry be like, We wanted to break old things and save your floor. They even saw the power-saving energy get down to the floor too, and also be broken into pieces. Are you You thought you got Bert and Henry, didn't they? The Three Aarghs episode ends with Coop and Dennis being happy outside. In the Kid vs. Cat episode 9 to 5 to Oblivion, where Coop loads the t-shirt cannon with objects and breaks every window in Dennis's house, he is forced to work off his debt by working in Henry's store called the House of Swap. Cat creates a satellite to signal the cat invasion by stealing and using the new gadgets from his store. But Coop must stop Cat without telling Henry that he must have. Wait, what? What? Okay, Henry told Coop to start working on things that are worth $10, $20, $30, $50, or even $60 or more at his store. Wow. See what Coop did? He has not earned his entire allowance by guessing the price of things at the House of Swap. The security cameras caught Cat stealing things from Henry, and Henry partially accused Coop and Dennis of taking away items that were in store. He also told him not to watch DVDs of Cat stealing things on television, but Coop and Dennis never listened. Coop and Dennis resumed watching Cat steal jewelry, the waffle maker, the burger slider station, the Blu-ray DVD player, a retro gaming console, and other things like a recipe cooking book, toy animals, some science experiments, etc. Henry also watched security cameras of Cat robbing items from the House of Swap too, which is also a good thing to do before calling 911 emergency number. The gadgets that Cat also used in the 9 to 5 to Oblivion episode, like a stopwatch, the mini Wi-Fi antenna, some random wireless receiver, and others, created his own satellite. But that doesn't stop there because Coop and Dennis stopped Cat from stealing items worth $1,000 or more, and also using dangerous things that attract satellite signals. Coop and Dennis returned stolen items back to Henry and the House of Swap. Another half hour later, Henry gave Coop and Dennis their full allowance for saving the House of Swap and also Henry's day. He also reveals that he covers his ears when he uses the toilet, presumably while sitting down, when Dennis offers this as an excuse for why Coop wasn't responding to his shouts. Henry, however, still does not get along well with Dennis. He now resumes being with Bert at the end of the 9 to 5 to Oblivion episode. There's also other possibilities that Henry does. Henry is also afraid of his wife and Oldie Munson. Dennis's mom is so strict that Henry is afraid to play golf in front of her. She probably hates golf, and she might also be Chinese-Canadian. Henry made his wife spray paint him using her spray can for the big game in the Storm Drain episode in time to cheer for the winning team. In the Kid vs. Cat episode Hairbrains, Henry and his wife are being rescued from under plastic Dennis wrapped the room in, preparing for alien quarantine. Henry's wife has fewer voice lines than Dennis and Henry, not knowing when she will begin talking using her voice. Dennis's mom does make a gasping noise distinct from Henry's in the Hairbrains episode, which could be credited to someone. Henry also made his wife meet Dennis Chan in the bathroom tube in that episode. Dennis's mom also has less appearances than Henry Chan. On the Henry Kid vs. Cat wiki page, it says that his last appearance is Who's Haunting Who. There's fewer scenes showing Henry Chan in the Who's Haunting Who episode at the moment. The Kid vs. Cat wiki also does not have the Who's Haunting Who image gallery at the moment. Uh-oh! There doesn't seem to be any more appearances for Henry Chan for Kid vs. Cat Season 2 at the moment, as I checked back on the episode guide page on the Kid vs. Cat wiki website, and also clicked on other Season 2 episodes that featured Henry. Then again, I'll have to rewatch Seasons 1 and 2 of Kid vs. Cat over and over again to see if I can mention Henry a little more. I counted more Henry's appearances in Kid vs. Cat. There's 6 more, bringing up to a total of 12 or more appearances featuring him in Kid vs. Kat I watch all the time. As Henry Chan becomes a granddad later in the future, he no longer sees Dennis and Coop as kids. He now sees them again as teenagers or adults after the show's end. Henry Chan's age is also unknown at the moment. I'm going to predict that Henry is aged 18 and up. In May 2025, I celebrated Asian American Pacific Islanders Heritage Month to honor Henry from Kid vs. Kat being the one and only Asian character I saw so far. It is also not known if Henry will also celebrate AAPI Month in May. So there you have it, all of Henry's possibilities that I saw in Kid vs. Kat so far. Do you have any thoughts on Henry from Kid vs. Kat? Do you think Henry's a bad guy? If you see Henry in other episodes, please let me know in the comments. And that will wrap it up for today. If you enjoyed it, please do not forget to follow Talking Kid vs. Kat podcast on Spotify, Amazon Music, and iHeartRadio. My name is Mr. Demon Cat. I'll see you in the next one, coming soon. Goodbye.